terms. 3 terms. Take a point. So we're going to be factoring a 3-termed polynomial that does not have a GCF. And I'll give everybody a minute to write this down. Super fast. Alright, so
I'm sorry, after 27p, we just put 28, or is there another?
So GCF is when they have something in common, be it a letter or a number, and you factor that out or you divide that out. Trinomial factoring is what we're going to learn how to do when you don't have one of those. And it is going to look like this, like these problems right here. But what we're going to do first, before we attack these, because these are going to do for homework, we're going to learn how to do it. So just so you have in mind what it's going to look like this. And it's going to go backwards to 2 parentheses. So remember when we used FOIL to multiply it out and we got this as our final answer? We're going to go backwards to that, to the 2 sets of parentheses. Okay? We have nothing here. Alright, so I went to 27p, which is right here. And over here is going to be 28a. Trinomial factoring.
Did you just go to the other side?
Yes. I don't know what that was. We might be under attack. Who knows?
It was actually from that mine. That quarry, my bad.
Yeah.
They were blasting.
You can get used to it if you're at their intermediate stage.
Yeah, they do it like all the time.
They have it all the whole 4 days.
Yeah, it's hard to get work done.
Okay.
In every couple of seconds. It was like,
Alright, now our learning target for today. Well, probably for this week, since it's already Wednesday, and I'm super sorry that I wasn't here with you guys. But we'll persevere in the face of danger.
Yeah, it was fun.
We missed you. I don't know about that.
Thank you.
I got away with a lot of stuff.
The stuff yesterday gave us a speech.
Yeah, he gives us a speech.
it was a good kind of speech though. It was talking about our future.
But Jared,
Said they would give up.
Jared, what? He was driving kids you home. Oh my God. He's like my fellow brother. He's talking about him. Dead Poet Society.
Got dinosaurs.
Dead Poet Society. Alright, so we're going to look at, what we're going to be using is we're going to use this great thing called the STAR method. And the STAR method is going to help us factor. And we're going to put our cell phones away.
Did we already do that?
Yeah, well, we should, but... Alright, so what I want you to do is your star is going to look like this.
With the symmetrical stars.
Alright, so now you have special things that you put in each part of the star. You're going to put C up here. Whatever number's in the place of C goes here. And you're going to put B here. Now up here and here is the number in front of X. What number is in front of X right now? In front of X is a 1. So 1 goes there.
And then B would go, no wait, no. The square root would go there. The X would go up there.
And on the bottom are our factors. Now, when we factor in this form, we're going from x squared plus bx plus c. Can you just put it in? Yeah. Thanks, baby. You're my hero. We're going from this to this. Magic. And each time, we're going to have an x here and an x here. And these invisible ones are going to go out front. Now, what do you think is going to go in the back? The factors. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find two numbers that multiply to give us C and add to give us B. Every single time. Every single time. But you have steps. The very first thing that you do. Steps for trinomial factoring. Step 1.
Can we call trinomial like just TRI for short?
If that makes your soul happy, sure. Is that really something that needed to be interrupted in the class? Okay. Alright, so the first thing you do is you look at C. So you look at this number back here. And if C is positive, you follow this train. If C is positive, then both factors match the sign of B. Can C be something other than positive?
Yes.
What could it be?
Negative.
Negative. Take a point. If C is negative, I can't really see that purple. Your big factor matches Blair B. So that's your first step, and it kind of branches off, and we're going to talk about what exactly that means. Now, is everybody ready, or do you need a mo? Okay. You ready, sir? Okay. Step 2. List all the factors of C. That means all the things that multiply to give you C, whatever C is. If it was 20, we would list all the things that multiply to get us C. In step 3, find the one that adds to B. Now, right now, that sounds like a bunch of nonsense because we don't have an example, right? And it doesn't make a lot of sense yet, but it's crazy because we're going to. Are y'all ready? Are you sure? Does anybody need a moment? I need a moment because I need to get my examples that I have. What are you doing and why? Why do you have a fishing worm? What?
Especially for the numbers.
So many things I could say, and I'm just not going to, Tater. I'm just not going to. Alright, the first one that we're going to do. Alright, so the example says, factor each polynomial. And our first example is x squared plus 14x plus 24. Now, each time I want you to draw the star. And according to our example star that we drew at the top of our page, what goes on the top right here? 24. C. Good. Take a point. Alright, what goes in the bottom?
E.
B. Good. 14. Take a point. And then your 1 always goes here. As long as there's not a number in front of x, 1 goes here.
So if there was a number, it goes there.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so it tells us to look at C. That's our first step. And if C is positive, then both factors match the sign of B. So is C positive here? So that means that both of our factors are going to be positive because B is positive. So what we need to do is we need to list all the multiples of 24. What two numbers multiply to give us 24?
12 and 2.
12 and 2. What else?
6 and 4.
6 and 4. Is there anything else?
24 and 1.
Anything else?
8.
3 and 8. Good. Alright, now. It says to list all the factors of C, that's what we did, and find the one that adds to B. So we need to find the factor that when we add the two together, it gives us 14. What would that be?
12 and 2.
12 and 2. So you write 12 here, 2 here.
We're done.
Now, we have to write it in our parentheses. Remember, I told you that we're going from this to our parentheses. Now, these are our factors. This is what we write in our parentheses. So we write it as, what's our variable? So what comes first? X plus 12 times X plus 2. And we're done. That's it. How do we feel? Now, if this was a 3 up here, for instance, in the place of this 1, like Austin said earlier, he said that if there was a number out front, that number would go on top. If there was a 3 right here, what would go in front of the X? 3. Good. So what we're doing is we're taking this number, and we're putting it here, and this number, and we're putting it here. Yes, sir?
It may just be a simple question, but with the way this is, can we just easily kind of star and use the factors to fill in the X anyways?
You can, but the reason we're doing the star is it's helping us for our next step. So we start with the star now, and it helps us build to our next step that we're going to. Alright, ready to try another one? I want to do it together just to be safe. Alright, let's do x squared minus 7x plus 12. Alright, so what's our first step? What do we need to do? Do our star, and then find the C. So what is our C this time? 12. And what's our B? Negative 7. Good. Alright, so now, is that going to, does this affect anything? Yes, it does. It affects what our factors are, right? If C is positive, then both factors match the sign of B. Is C positive this time? So are both factors, they're going to be what? Negative. They're going to match 7. Alright, so list for me. And what goes on the top, left, and right? 1. Good. Alright, list for me the factors of 12. And remember, they both need to be negative.
Negative 4 and negative 3.
And negative 2 and negative 6. Alright, which of those adds to negative 7?
Negative 4. Yeah.
Yep. Am I done?
No, you gotta put
How do I write my answer?
x minus negative minus 4
X minus 4.
and x minus 3.
X minus 3. Awesome. Questions?
What if 12 is negative?
We're going to do a problem like that in just a minute. But didn't we write down what happens if C is negative? What happens? What?
Everything turns negative.
No?
The factor.
Look at it. We wrote it down at the top.
The big factor matches B.
The big factor matches V. Awesome. Alright, so now I want you to try one where C is positive without me. And I'm going to write mine on the back since I'm out of room because I write giant. Alright, 28B. This is problem C as in cotato. Alright, x squared minus 18x plus 32. Try that one without me. You can do it. Alright, does everybody's star look like mine so far? Okay. Now, before Bronson tells us what the answer is, let's list the factors of 32. And they're both going to have to be what this time? Negative, because B is negative. So what are the factors of 32?
Obviously, negative 1 and negative 32.
That's 36. Oh, my bad.
What?
I missed it.
Okay, one person raise their hand. Alright, Dylan.
16 and negative 2.
Negative 16, negative 2. Another person raise their hand.
Negative 1 and negative 32, obviously.
Okay. Negative 8 and negative what? Okay. Alright, I feel like that's enough. Now, which of those adds to give us negative 18? Alright. Bronson, can you tell me what your answer is in the parentheses?
That's not a quick question. Doesn't matter how it goes, like you got negative 16 and negative 2. I did that. Alright, the answer is x parentheses s minus 2 and parentheses s minus 16.
Good, take a point. I feel like we need to try another one. What do y'all think? Alright, x squared minus 10x plus 24. Are we having trouble because we don't know our multiplication tables, or we don't understand?
I bet so.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the multiplication tables.
your mom's nice, but you don't see me picking her up.
It's recording you saying that.
Make sure your mom.
Bro, my dad.
Alright, so on the top part of our star, we should have 24. The bottom part, we should have negative 10, 1, and 1. Now, what did we get for our factors this time?
Negative 82 and negative 3.
Negative 6 and negative 4.
Negative 6. That's what I put. I got it.
So then in your parentheses, you get x minus 6 times x minus 4. And we're going to start making sure that our parentheses are right next to each other, right?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we need to practice one more?
No.
Nope.
Kind of feel like we do just to be safe.
No, we don't.
Yeah, let's practice one more, and then we're going to change this to a minus. We're going to go crazy.
Well, that was Coco.
Coco? A Coco?
If you so good at that,
That was their slogan to make sense.
That's Asbury kind of.
They rhymed. But they Yeah, I'll just show
You have to learn this. Like,
Alright, now, no, I'm just looking at my problems, because I forgot to write a bunch
you know,
down.
like when you don't want to do an intersection.
Now, does it matter that I changed my variable?
No.
No, you still do the same thing, even though I changed my variable. And you three are going to stop talking, or you're going to have detention. Do you understand me?
It's not fun.
Thank you. Shh. Tell me what goes in my parentheses.
Hush.
Alright, Bronson's telling us the answer. Hush.
The answer is parentheses x plus 4 and post that parentheses x plus 14.
Good. Or we could use D since the problem is D, right?
Yes.
Very good job.
I told you I got it. I'm the
I didn't doubt you. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to change C to a negative, and we're going to talk about what happens. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, sir.
Saying it.
Can I put this on 29? Because I don't got no more space.
28C?
Yeah.
Yes. Alright, so this one says n squared plus 4n minus 21. So the directions that we wrote on the previous side told us that to look at C. And if C is negative, our big factor matches B. That means our biggest number in the... Did y'all hear that?
What?
Whatever that was?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not
I don't know what
crazy.
you said.
Wait, what'd y'all hear?
You just said
It's like a door closing.
It's something slamming.
It's not like a locker can hit.
Yeah. Alright, so when you list your numbers, you have 1 is bigger than the other, right? So like 16 is bigger than 2. Our big factor is going to match B. So our big factor is going to be what this time?
4.
No, guys, the sign.
Plus.
Positive ham sandwich. Alright, so let's draw our star. Alright, what goes in the top of my star? Negative 21. What goes in the bottom? And then 1 and 1. Okay, so now this time it multiplies to give us negative 21, but it has to add to give us positive 4. That's why the big factor has to be positive. So instead of worrying about our signs, what I want you to do first is just list for me the numbers that multiply to give us 21. 3 and 7.
1 and 21.
1 and 21.
11.
No, honey, that's adding.
Is it 7 and 3?
But now we have to make our big factor positive, right? So that means that our other one is going to be what? Negative. So what's negative 3 plus 7?
Negative 10. Negative. No, wait, hold on. 4.
Positive 4. So that's our answer. So we put negative 3 here and 7 here. Does everybody see how we got that? Are you sure? Yes. So what we did was we listed our factors of 21. And then we know that since C is negative, they're going to have different signs. And our big factor is going to be positive. So we made our 3 negative. And now we put it in our parentheses. So we're going to say n minus what?
3.
Oh shoot, I put
N minus 3, and then
plus 7.
n plus 7. Good, take a point.
We got 2 minutes. Homework tonight?
Yeah,
What time is
she said
It's
that.
not time to go.
10:50.
What time do we get out?
52?
I do that every day.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I'm telling you.
Ham
Ham sandwich. Alright, so what you're going to do for your homework tonight? Example 5, 6, 7, and 8. On this page, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And if you need to take a picture of it, take a picture of it. If you don't have this foldable.
Oh my god. You gonna post it on your Google?
Yes, sir.